Hello and welcome to our Affinity webinar series. Today we'll be focusing on adding customers. My name is Julie Bilodeau and I prepared for you a 30-minute webinar presented in NAV 2013 R2 for our Compass Retail Advanced users. I'm going to walk through with you each fast tab of our customer page and also show you how to add default dimensions for a new customer and set up ship to addresses should the customer have any. Please note we do have a manual called AR Adding Customers. That's manual number 3. I'll be speaking to most of the manual's content. Also, I'll only be reviewing fields that we use in Compass Retail Advanced. You'll notice more fields available, but I will only address those that we need in order to function according to best practices. So the scenario for today again is how to add new customers. So let's get started. So I've shifted into NAV here, the Compass Retail Advanced database we have. And I just wanted to make a quick note about navigating to this customer page. There's multiple ways of accessing the customer list in Compass Retail Advanced. The reason is because staff may be using the system in various ways. So rather than have them dig through the system to find that customer list, it's made accessible in several areas for quick and easy access for when the user needs it. So in this case, what I've done is I've gone to Compass and I've gone to Customers. And for your case, you're going to press New in order to create a new customer. So what I'm going to do instead, though, is I'm going to bring you to one of my existing customers that I just set up. And I felt that this is going to be better for you to see the actual values in the fields as we walk through each of the fast tabs together. So you'll notice in general that the customer page has several fast tabs. They're here: general, communication, invoicing, payments, etc. And what I've done to help our eyes today is I've collapsed them, and I'm only going to open the one that I'm going to walk you through. So first, the first tab is called General, and the first field you'll see is Number. Now this is a mandatory field and can never be duplicated. Each customer will therefore have its own unique number. So to generate a new number, you'll just click out of the field and it will populate the new number for your new customer. In the name field, enter the customer's full name. You'll notice that the search name field on the right will also update as soon as you step out of the name field. Enter the customer's address in the corresponding fields. The address will be used on various system documents and reports like customer invoices and customer statements. And also enter the customer's phone number here in the phone number field. The primary contact number and the contact field here are optional, so feel free to fill them as you'd like. I'm now going to jump to credit limit. The credit limit is where you would put in the credit limit for the customer should you have established one. The field can be modified at a later point in time if the credit limit changes. If you have a salesperson associated with this customer, feel free to enter their name here. Now let's move on to the communication fast tab. So I'm going to collapse that one. I'm going to expand on this one. Note that none of the fields are required, but of course you can enter the information you have available. You'll notice that the phone number from the general fast tab will populate here. One note I want to say about the email field is that Compass has built-in functionality to email documents and reports directly to customers. So the email address is mandatory should you want to use that functionality. Now let's move to the invoicing tab. The first field you'll see on the invoicing fast tab is the bill to customer number. Normally this field isn't used, but you can use it to set up buying groups. You can select the customer here that needs to be billed for this customer's invoices. Now the bill to customer must already exist in Compass before you complete this, before this field is entered. So make sure that they're set up first so that you can populate them here. I'm going to jump now to tax liable. all customers must have taxes set up here since all customers are tax liable. There may be some exceptions, but generally they will be tax liable. So feel free to contact us if you have any customers where you think you might have an exception to this rule. We'd be more than happy to help you. So for now, generally, as I've said, most customers are tax liable, so I'm going to have the flag on. If it's not checked on, then no taxes are going to be charged to this customer. So we're going to keep it checked on. Now, the tax area code. This field determines which set of taxes the customer will be charged. So since my customer is located in Ontario, I've chosen the Ontario tax code. Normally, the tax area codes will correspond with your customer's physical address. You'll notice here split invoicing. So if invoices to this customer are normally split with other customers, you can place a check mark here. Note that this doesn't force the invoices for this customer to be split every time. It's just going to prompt the person entering a sales order per se with a reminder that this customer normally has split invoices with others. Over here at the default blend charge, if the customer is normally subject to a blending charge, like for a blended fertilizer, place a check mark here. When a sales order is created for this customer, the blending charge will be added to the sales order. And now we're coming to the two very important fields here, general business posting group and customer posting group. Every customer must always have these two fields populated. The general business posting group is where Compass will link the customer to the receivables account when making a sale. So we're going to choose customer. And the customer posting group determines which GL account the receivable will post to when making a sale. So we're always going to choose cust. Next, we have the customer price group. If you have price lists, you can assign your customer to one of them from here. So you can select the appropriate price group for your customer, and the pricing for this customer on the sales order will correspond to this group. So you'll see here I've already got a price group set up for preferred customers, and I can add that in there. There's also a customer discount group. If you have this set up, feel free to attribute it to your customer as well. Now, allow line discount. We're going to keep that flag on. It's going to be checked on by default. This means that Compass will allow this customer to receive a discount on a sales order or invoice lines. Finally, we have prepayment percentage. The best practice is to leave this value at 0. If any value is entered here, it will enforce a prepayment of that percentage to be paid before any sales order is processed. So just keep it at 0 for now, and you're ready to go. Now let's move on to the Payments Fast tab. The first field you'll notice here is Application Method. We recommend that this field remain at Manual. You'll notice two choices here from the drop-down, Manual and Apply to Oldest. These settings refer to how Compass will apply payments to invoices or credit memos to invoices. Manual allows the user to choose which invoice to apply the payment to, whereas Apply to Oldest will allow for Compass to apply the payment to the first earliest open invoice in the customer's ledger. So the best practice is to leave this setting to Manual so that the user has full control over how system documents and payments will be applied. Now I'm going to jump to Payment Terms Code. You can have as many of these as you like. This calculates when invoices are due for your customer. If it's left empty, the customer will never have anything due. So we really recommend that you have a term in here. And again, remember, this is a default. You can change the payment terms in the sales order or sales invoice for the customer as well as it applies to your situation. The term is also used for any of your receivables reports. Payment method code. This is also a default, and it describes the default of how the customer tends to pay. And it's inserted into the sales invoice for the customer, and it can also be changed at that point. Your choices that we have here are on account, bank, cash, check. Finance terms codes. So if your customer is subject to interest on overdue accounts, you must select this terms code. So for this customer, I've chosen 1% per month for any overdue accounts. So now let's move on to the shipping fast tab. I'm only going to point out two fields on this fast tab. The location code. For instance, we must enter a location from which the customer receives inventory. So even if you only have one location, you still need to choose the location here. So in my case, I've got 2, and my customer tends to pick up inventory at location 1, so I'm going to choose location 1. This is a default, again, and it can be changed on any sales orders as needed. The second field I'm going to mention is this TDG warning. Now this stands for transportation of dangerous goods, and it's normally checked on in the event we ever do ship dangerous goods to the client. There is a warning message related to the items shipped that will appear on any shipping documents that are sent to the customer. So we want to keep that on just in case. Now let's explore the foreign trade fast tab. The first field you'll notice is currency code. Now we're going to leave this currency code empty, and this may seem counterintuitive, but in NAV, an empty currency code indicates that the customer is operating in local currency. So we only populate this if they're operating in anything but the local currency. So if this were an American client, we would have USD in here. But this isn't, so we're going to keep it to local, which is blank. I'm going to now jump to the check date format and check date separator fields. So these fields are used when you're issuing a payment like a refund to the customer. It indicates the customer's check format. So if you know the format, feel free to enter it here. If the check date is day, month, year per se, or any other format, feel free to select the one appropriately. Or check date or check date separator, if you happen to know that, feel free to fill that in as well. It tends to be a /. If you don't know, not to worry, just leave it empty. All right, now let's move on to the additional fast tab, which is the last one in our customer page. This fast tab is used to store any additional information about the customer. There are several tax-related fields here, like GST, PSD, pesticide. Should you have the customer exemption numbers, feel free to enter them here. So here are the exemption number fields, also for pesticide. Should you have any information for the customer associated with TSA, the Technology Stewardship Agreement, TUA, Technology Use Agreement, and LTA, the Liberty Trade Agreement, feel free to enter them here as well. These are for informational purposes only. If you don't have this information, maybe you want to use it as an opportunity to touch base with your customer and obtain that information. Note also that there's expiry dates here. Now, if these expiry dates are populated, they're actually going to provide a warning when adding a sales order after that is past the expiry date. So bear that in mind. But you'll still be able to process sales orders. There'll just be a message that appears saying that your GST expiry, for instance, has expired for that customer. All right, so now that we've reviewed all of the fast tabs on the customer page, let's move on to entering the customer's dimensions. So we recommend setting up dimensions for each customer to increase efficiency and data integrity in your system. Whenever a customer is used in transactions, these dimensions are going to populate automatically, so the user won't have to worry about manually keying them in. In general, dimensions are added information that will post through to the GL. It gives you the ability to analyze your data. So to enter default dimensions for your customer, go to the Navigate ribbon and select Dimensions. There are two dimensions we want to enter here. The first is dimension code called CUS. So what you'll do, yours will actually be blank when you open yours, but you'll go to the drop down and choose Customer. The dimension value code that we want will be cust, short for the customer dimension. And the value posting will be same code. For the second default dimension, we'll use retail. So you're going to come in here and from the drop-down select retail. And of that code, we're going to choose the main value code. And again, the value posting will also be set to same code. For more information on value posting, feel free to see the manual, Adding Customers, that I'm referring to today. In general, value postings dictate what the dimension value code should be when used when posting transactions for a particular record, such as, in our case, customers. By setting same code, we're telling Compass that for this customer, for these dimension codes, we want cust and main to always populate, to always be posted through. And then you're going to press OK. Now for our final piece today, let's look at how to add ship to addresses for the customer. So in the same Navigate ribbon, you're going to choose Ship to Addresses. And this window appears. Ship to addresses are used to indicate where inventory will be shipped should a customer have more than one location. You can have as many ship to locations as you need. So when this window opens, you're going to press New, and you're going to enter a new code for the location. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose the one I already have here, so you can see the values. So we recommend the first, for the first field here, code, we recommend that to be clear and concise so that other users in your system will understand exactly which location this ship to address is referring to. And note too that this ship to code is used on printed shipping documents and invoices. Then you can enter a main name for the location as well as its address. So even for the name here, we can say, just to be clear. Now in the location field, location code here, you can provide your location from where you ship the product to the customer as well. So I'm going to say I'm always going to ship it from location 1. You must also complete the tax-related fields. Right here, tax liable and tax area code. Normally they're set up in the same way as the customer page. But bear in mind, though, that the tax settings can differ for different ship-to addresses, especially if the customer has locations in different provinces. If you ever want more help on this, feel free to contact us and we'll help walk you through it. For now, I'm just going to put it to Ontario because that's the same place as my customer page. Also, feel free to open up the Communication Fast tab and enter additional contact information in these fields. Should maybe the location main have a different phone number, feel free to enter it here, or even a different email that you can contact, feel free to enter it there. Then press OK. Now jumping back to our PowerPoint, that concludes our scenario of how to add new customers. I want to thank you so much for attending. If you have any topics for us for any future webinars, feel free to let us know. I really want to thank you for your time and joining me today on looking at how to add new customers in your Compass Retail Advanced system. If you have any feedback on this webinar, feel free to let us know. That's what we're here for, is for you. So you can email us at support@affinitylimited.com or phone us at 1-866-278-9530. Again, my name is Julie, and thank you again for joining us today. Have a wonderful rest of the day.